Blog Talk Radio. Hello and welcome to Honey Badger Radio. I'm Alison, tonight's host, and we are offering silent open lines tonight for Christmas. That means you can call in and talk to us privately or talk to us on air. The number is 347-215-8746. That is 347-215-8746. Tonight, joining me is my co-host Karen Strawn, and if she can actually get on the show, Rachel Edwards. We like to do everything by the skin of our teeth here on Honey Badger Radio, so it's always a rocky start, but let's see if I can get Karen on. Karen, are you there, Karen?
Oh,
hello.
Sorry.
Oh, good.
Sorry.
Oh.
Sorry, I was muted.
That's okay. I understand that happens. The attack the mute button. All right, yeah. Okay, yeah. Good. Now we just need to get Rachel, and our switchboard has just had a whole bunch of people added to it. I guess that's to be expected, but here we go.
All right.
Actually, I'll get you started. What do you think of this situation with Patreon and based Hot Wheels?
Oh, I don't even really know a whole lot about it. What's going on with that? I heard things about it, but I didn't really look into it. So,
allegedly, I believe it was Zoe Quinn or Brianna Wu was in conversation with the founders of Patreon, and they changed their terms of service or their guidelines to include not supporting or not allowing people to have patron accounts who are associated with hate groups or support hate speech or that kind of thing. And so because Based Hot Wheels runs the Infinity Chan board, and he receives donations to do that, because of his association with Infinity Chan, they suspended his account. And he originally, in response to this, he changed it so he instead of doing open source programming or managing the 8chan, he changed it so he was making videos of his cat. But unfortunately, after talking to Patron again, apparently changing the rationale for why his patron exists is not acceptable. So he has to close it down and restart it. But so we've been getting lots of questions about what we think about what Patron has done and what we think about the future is with Patron, and whether or not they're going to go after anyone associated with gay. Go ahead.
Honestly, if I were Based Hot Wheels, I would try and promote an exodus from Patreon, and I might even consider setting up a similar site.
Yeah, that's.
I mean, didn't he build 8chan or Infinity Chan or whatever because of 4chan and how fucked up that place got, right? Like, the market needs to come in and provide a different service that will support people who are being marginalized, right?
Oh yeah.
By the voice. Like that's really what needs to happen. And if and when that does happen, right, and people like me and Honey Badger Radio and Hot Wheels and all of these people, right, all of a sudden just leave Patreon, right? We just go, right? We're gonna go somewhere else. Fuck you.
Yeah.
Right? Then Patreon will be sorry. Right? But it's the only way they're gonna learn. It's the only way they're gonna learn. It's like Gawker right now, trying to put a positive spin on the fact that they lost 7 figures due to Gamergate, 7 figures worth of advertising. But even though they tried to put a positive spin on it, they still fired their freaking managing editor or whatever, and their founder stepped down as head of the company. Right?
Yeah.
Like there's just no amount of positive spin that you can put on something like that. And Oh, just
Hmm.
give me 1 second. I got a Christmas crisis in my house with my kids.
Oh boy.
Just, yeah,
You know
give
what?
me 1 second.
You know what? I think I'm gonna have to play some music because I
Okay.
also have a crisis of the radio sort. So I'm going to cue up some
All right.
music. This is "Slow Down" by Dan Mason. Here you go, folks.
Karen.
Hi.
Wake
Hello.
up. Wake up, Karen.
Hi. No, I'm here.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm back. I mean, I was just behind the couch the whole time. That's where I was hiding.
Oh,
Okay.
I think I just... Okay, everybody, I apologize for the chaos that just happened. I actually muted myself and unmuted a person in the queue, which is, wow, that's quite the mistake. But anyway, I'll stop interfering with you and Rachel and just crawl into a hole and die.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, we can hear you.
I can hear you.
Okay, good. Because, everything just went blank for, a couple of seconds and then sounded like you couldn't hear me. And, oh, my God, do I ever miss James. But, because he's got all of the horrible, labyrinthine complexities of Blog Talk Radio. He knows all of that. So, yeah. And I can only thank God that I'm not the one hosting this, right, and working the back room, because I would be completely lost.
Sounds like a nightmare.
Yeah. But speaking, you were hiding behind
for you.
I know you were up to no good behind there. You were probably raping someone, Rachel.
No, I was just going under the couch with a broom to just get out all the cat toys. They always end up under there. Just that's where all the cat toys end up.
Well, but see, you need a higher couch so that the cats can fit under there and get them themselves. That's all.
Maybe that's the case. Maybe. But before we got back on here, we were talking about how Karen is now a meme on 8chan. They're calling her based aunt or based stepmom. I don't know if they decided on that yet.
Yeah, there's going on there about which it should be. Yeah. I basically, somebody specifically asked me, can I call you based stepmom? And I said, sure. Right. Because that's the role I've been in. So, so that would be the one I think that I would pick, out of the two of them. Just because, yeah. But, yeah, it's Rachel was telling me there were GIFs of me.
Actually, WebMs. They're these little mini videos that you can embed into 8chan. So they have this one, which is my favorite, which is a loop of you drinking from the vodka bottle with Russian music in the background.
Yep. Well, I mean, it was mostly just for a sight gag, right? And it was okay. Here's the thing, guys. I don't want to shatter your image of me as somebody who can chug a boot Mickey of vodka in 10 seconds. Because I probably could. And I probably wouldn't even really be that drunk afterwards. Not immediately afterwards. It'd probably take about half an hour for all of that to absorb. But yeah, no, it was watered down. And it was just, some of the shit that they were saying was so retarded that, it was like you just sort of had to, it's like, I need a drink just to even address what they're saying. I need a drink first. And then, and I feel really bad. I missed one really beautiful opportunity in the initial opening of that video by John McIntosh, where he says, what's following, or the following is a list of some of the concrete benefits, right, of gaming while male. And then, the title page comes up and it's 25 invisible benefits. I'm thinking, invisible, concrete, invisible, invisible concrete. That explains why you guys are brain damaged. You've been bonking your heads on all that invisible concrete lying around.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't invisible concrete. Concrete yet invisible.
Also, the Gamergate chat logs came back, and one of the conversations involved you. They were like, who the hell is Karen Strawn, and why does everybody hate her? And they're like, oh, she's an MRA or whatever, and they started proceeding to say some make some incredibly baseless claims. It was like really weird and bizarre, but they linked to like I think this Reddit post that was saying some shit. I don't fucking know.
Oh no,
really
they linked. That's the one that I've taken heat over and over and over and over for that one comment on Reddit. It was a part of a comment thread, and it was basically somebody had posted a Ferdinand Bartomeu article, and if anybody who knows who Ferdinand Bartomeu was, I think he's since now he goes by the name Matt Forney. But when he was in his Ferdinand Bartomeu persona, he was extremely freaking hardcore, in your face, saying some, a lot of really fucked up shit, and was still very, very angry. He has since mellowed out quite a bit. But so of course it's Ferdinand Bartomeu, and I've read a couple of his articles, so I'm expecting like something really not just egregious, but having no content whatsoever, right? No real content that would make you think. So I'm like, I'm coming out of this article going like, wow, other than like a few really egregious things that he said, like he had some insights into the dynamics between violent intimate partners, right? He had some real insights into it. Into what causes that violence and how and why it escalates and all of this, right? And so I just made the comment that, there really wasn't that much in the article, sort of thinking given the source, but I wasn't speaking carefully. But there wasn't really that much in the article I found, too morally objectionable or ethically objectionable or whatever, right? So the social justice warriors took that as me saying there was nothing in the article that I found ethically objectionable, right? That me.
Well,
saying
actually, I have the article that they linked to in the chat on Reddit. It links to a video. It links to the video of you, and then underneath it says, "On Karen Strahan, what a card. Here's a good rundown of some of the really quite vile and banal shit she said in some other MRA stuff, which includes women's brains are more childlike than men's, women are cold, heartless, and uncaring, the government should sterilize women on welfare, women's suffrage was maybe a bad idea, some women get a sex charge out of domestic abuse and demand it, quote, the necessity of domestic violence, unquote, quote, I don't really find too much that's seriously ethically questionable, unquote, quote, I don't think I get a full enough picture of what's really going on in places like Saudi Arabia to even really say women are oppressed there, unquote. Yes, for fucking real. You cannot be feminist without being religious. Bonobos live in a matriarchal slut culture, which is why they're not super duper evolved humans. Plenty of victim blaming. Also surprised none of them gave her a lecture about how long hair is natural and that she's not making a statement by cutting short blah blah blah, whatever. And that's a quote. That's entirely what they were linking to. That's the analysis of you. The analysis of you.
What are they saying about my hair? What are they fucking saying about my hair? Like, and all the rest is just like completely taking things I've said and twisting them in the worst possible way, right?
Yeah.
But what was that about my hair? What did they say?
It says, also surprised none of them gave her a lecture about how long hair is natural and that she's not making a statement by cutting it short and blah, 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 whatever.
Oh, lots of guys. Lots of MRAs have said I should grow my hair. And, I think that if I actually did grow my hair, they would not be saying that anymore. They'd be saying, cut your hair. Because I had my hair long while I was, for most of my marriage, I had my hair long. And when my ex and I separated, I kind of went around announcing to people that I was going to hack it all off. I was just going to cut it all off. And everybody, and I lived in a really small town, so everybody knows everybody, right? And they had only really ever seen me with long hair. And they were all begging me not to. Oh my God, don't, right? And then I just went out and did it, and probably 90% of the people that saw me said, "Oh my God, you look 10 years younger," right? "Oh my God, you know, like you're just that looks so awesome," right? You know, "Oh my God, it's beautiful," blah blah blah, right? Even though it's just a boy's haircut, right? "Oh, it looks so good on you," you know, the whole bit, right? "I'm so glad you did that. I'm so glad you didn't listen to me," right? And so I mean, it just kind of, you know, if I had nice hair, right? If I had well-behaved, nice hair that did what it's supposed to and all of that, then maybe that would be a good thing, grow my hair long, and I might have just kept it long. But I don't. I have very bad hair, badly behaved hair. It's rebellious, and it's big. It doesn't even get long, it just gets big. But not big in a good way. Big in a cousin-it way.
Yeah, I could never do short hair though, because my hair would just get worse. Like my hair is so curly that it would just become like a mini fro if I were to cut it short. That's pretty much what would happen. It's not really an option. I mean, as much as I can, as close as I can get to short would be like a little bob or like a shag hairdo. A shag haircut.
How are you guys doing?
Yeah, well,
we're doing pretty good. We're just
about hair. We're
talking
about hair.
We're talking about hair as a result of like feminists like making some kind of comment about Karen's hair, about how like long hair is normal and that her hacking it off isn't making a statement or something.
All right.
It was really dumb.
Well, as wonderful as talking about hair is, I think I'm going to bring on our first guest.
Yay!
David.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
David.
Yeah, you're with the
Hi,
Badgers.
guys. Sweet. Merry Christmas, guys.
Thanks,
Merry
David.
Christmas.
Yo, it's cool to be talking to you guys. I'm always listening. It's like weird to be like interacting with the voices I listen to. It's kind of trippy. But I had a question. I have two questions. The first one is, Karen, how's your bathroom and have you finished it? And the second question is, what kind of music do you guys listen to? Like, what bands or artists are you guys into? Just curious.
Oh, okay. Well, my bathroom went on hold, you know, basically for Christmas preparations, Christmas shopping, general house cleaning, all of that. Also, I went and I unpacked my vanity, and the plumbing needs to be redone in advance of installing that, because the vanity is a very low-profile one, and the plumbing sticks out too far and it's too high, right? So that's on hold until after. Probably I'll call the plumber between now and New Year's and see if they'll come and just do that, because I really don't feel comfortable soldering things and all of that. So I'm going to get a professional to do that. And at that point, I'll be able to finish everything off. So no, I don't actually have a bathroom yet. As for music, music, I listen to a lot of stuff like The Offspring and Rage Against the Machine and Soundgarden and you know, the older Pearl Jam and you know, sort of just kind of who's the one? There's really kind of I listen to a lot of stuff that young men, like my boyfriend has said, you have the musical taste of a 14-year-old boy, and so I guess that's really it. I do, and you know, I listen to I used to listen to Slayer and you know, freaking all of those kind of speed metal bands and stuff like that. So sort of what I listen to. I listen to a little bit of classical too, and I know some I like Dwight Yoakam, and I do listen to sort of a variety of stuff, but yeah, mostly angry teenage boy music. So
awesome.
I don't know what that says about me.
Oh gosh, let me think about.
But what about you,
Rachel? Oh gosh, show tunes. Yoshida Brothers, and if you don't know who the Yoshida Brothers, they are a brother group, a group of two brothers from Japan that they play Suguru Shamisen, and that's the whole band. They turn the Suguru Shamisen, a very traditional instrument, into something that can be rocked out to, and it's quite an achievement, and it's pretty awesome. Got other stuff that I listen to. A little bit of indie rock, nerd rock, sort of thing, like comedy music, that sort of thing. I actually favor that stuff. That tends to be what gets stuck in my head. But so just a little bit everything. Things I don't listen to. Unfortunately, I don't really listen to as much metal as mostly because it gives me headaches. I mean, if it wasn't for that, I'd totally be like, yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna interject at that, and I'm gonna bring on. Actually, Mike is joining us tonight, so
Mike,
Doctor, yes, our Mike. So I'm gonna bring him on.
Oh, hi, Mike. Merry Christmas.
He can't hear you yet, but he should be able to hear you shortly. Mike, can you hear us?
What? Right. Oh, yeah. Hang on.
Mike.
Right. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you.
Merry Christmas, Mike.
Yes.
Yes. Merry whatever it is you're having, and so on and so forth.
To orientate you, Mike.
I'm having like the happiest Christmas where my 12-year-old stuffed the stockings last night.
Oh yeah.
So,
to orientate you, Mike, David has just asked us what our favorite music is. So I'll leave with that, and then I'll go back. I'm going to dive back into the back room where I'm talking to people. So
you're not going to answer the
question. No, I'm not going to answer the question. Nobody wants to know what I like. I just like folk. Okay.
What do you listen? What do you like, Mike? Like, tell the men, the gentlemen here, what kind of music you like.
You can probably. The clues are there from the kind of music I play. I like anything that chills you out and anything that fires you up. I like sort of Pink Floyd and Radiohead for chilling you out, and sort of.
Oh yeah.
So System of a Down and.
System of a Down.
Rage Against the Machine for firing you up.
I was like, what are they called? What are they called? Oh, no, System of a Down.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like those guys.
I've referenced them many a time in my works, as keen-eyed will have noticed.
I have a 20-year-old son, and we'll be driving in the car, and something will come on the radio. It'll be System of a Down, or it'll be something really freaking Rage Against the Machine, or your Offspring, or whatever, right? And we'll just start, bobbing our heads and singing along, two of us, to this, and it's just he doesn't even feel weird that he and his mom listen to the same music.
There's a certain kind of metal that's not. Well, it's something that purist metalheads wouldn't call metal. They call it hardcore punk. But once you've sort of eked away from some kind of genre, and you develop something new that no one's heard of before.
Oh,
that's when you get the geeks into what you do.
I like Chap Hop. I like Professor Elemental. Fucking A. Sorry, there we go.
Well, it's basically what we're talking about is hard music for people who don't have long hair.
All right, guys. Guys, I've thanked David, and I wish him well. Yeah, and he's off
Merry
into
Christmas.
the silent night. Merry Christmas. I'm going to bring on Charles now. Yay. Okay, Charles, can you hear us?
Hello, yes.
All right, you're on the air with the Badgers, so enjoy. I'm going to pop back into the back room now.
Merry Christmas.
Thank you. Just a very quick call, just to say thank you for my Christmas card. And also I was wondering when you chaps are getting up to Toronto next.
We're going to do what? Could you repeat that?
Toronto. I was just wondering.
Toronto. Yeah.
Yeah.
Karen, you there?
Yeah, I don't get out to Toronto unless I'm asked. So, I mean, I would have to be invited again. I don't really have any family there.
There's nothing in the works at the moment.
No, not that I know of.
Okay.
But yeah, I actually don't have any dates on my roster right now. Like, moving forward, I don't have any speaking engagements or anything like that. So, I don't know. Maybe I need a press agent or something like that, or a publicity person to try and drum up business thing. But on the other hand, I really don't enjoy traveling. So yeah.
Also, one last question. Where can I get a Honey Badgers T-shirt? The cartoon version from Dr. Randomcam.
Oh, Mike.
Well, there are no plans in the works for a Dr. Randomcam T-shirt, but that's an idea. Okay, that's one pre-order.
Yeah. No, actually, you should actually maybe put the Honey Badgers from your animations on some shirts.
Possibly.
Yeah. Even though I'm sporting a 1980s flat top in them.
You see, it's slightly more interesting than just a boy's haircut, Karen. That's what the stylist said to me, the imaginary stylist in my head.
I don't need special hair to be interesting.
Yeah, but cartoon characters do.
Yeah, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I think actually that's something we should think about doing is putting those characters on. Have you actually done yourself other than as the panda? You're not going to do yourself as anything other than the panda, right? You're the panda.
I'm the panda, yes.
All right.
You only get one spirit animal.
Yeah,
all right.
The panda is the best. I love the evil panda. He's my favorite.
Oh, wait a minute. I've just figured out that Mike is Dr. Randomcam. Sorry, I'm quite new to this. Sorry, carry on.
Yeah, it takes people a while. It's like a Superman reveal.
Yes.
It takes people a while.
I really enjoy your stuff.
Oh, it's awesome. I love that song you and Rachel did.
Yeah, she has an angelic voice.
Oh, thank you.
I just thought the whole thing was awesome. You're a pedophile, Stockholm syndrome, and Jesus knows what, and then she's like, and then shut the fuck up. Yeah.
I tried to squeeze as much of the last year as I could into a 3-minute song,
Yeah,
it was very much a last-minute decision. Like, I came up with the idea like a week before Christmas. I thought, right, let's shove this out.
Exactly. And I had so much fun doing that. I actually got myself a little bit tipsy beforehand, like, I'm going to do this.
The only way.
Exactly.
Drunken Irish Christmas is the best kind of Christmas.
Yes. Didn't have enough alcohol, but I did what I could with what I had.
Yeah, no, that was a beautiful, beautiful video. It was awesome.
Thank you.
Can I just say, I think I should probably let someone else on. You probably have quite a queue, so I should probably get off.
Well, I wanted to thank you, Charles, for coming on. I'll pull you off in just a second. And I can bring another person on. I sort of have to dive into the back room because there's a couple people that do want to take a call off air. But no, thank you, Charles, and Merry Christmas.
Thank you.
All right, the next caller is Pleiades, and I'm going to bring you on. Pleiades.
Hello.
On board. Hi.
How goes?
It's going well. Merry Christmas.
Merry. I'm guessing that's not your real name.
Sorry?
I'm guessing that's not your real name.
It's the fact, like, most people call me either Pleiades or Plaids or Play. It's my online name, but if you want my human, it's Angelo, but for online purposes. What?
Well, Merry Christmas, Angelo.
Yes, Merry Christmas, Angelo.
Thank you. So I have a question. Like, I've been doing a fair amount of research on feminism and feminists, and I can't tell the difference if, like, the prominent feminists, are they actively stupid or are they just malicious? Like, when, for example, when Anita Sarkeesian deliberately ignores, like, the male components of murder victims in video games, like, is it she's just not smart enough to look beyond her ideology, or is it she's just malicious? Like,
it's hard to know. It's really hard to know at what
is there a reason it can't be both?
Yeah, exactly. Why not both?
It doesn't necessarily need to be mutually exclusive, I suppose.
Yeah, no, I think essentially, like someone like her, and there's some question as to, like, when that 25 idiot things, video came out. Somebody was saying, obviously, this video was, you could tell they were reading off a teleprompter, and obviously the video was written by Anita Sarkeesian because it had her same style, same blah, 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 right? But I have heard that John McIntosh does the writing for her.
Yeah,
I've heard it that he is the person who does all of the writing for her. And so she may, like, as much as I have been accused, when I first started, I was accused of being Paul Elam's sock puppet. I was accused of being John the Other's sock puppet. I was accused of, essentially just being a parrot of those two guys, right? That I was only saying what they told me to say, that John the Other wrote my scripts for me, all of these things, right? As much as I get accused of that, you're looking at an actual situation where there is a man who is quite possibly writing all of the material and doing all of the thinking and using a woman as his mouthpiece.
Thinking.
Right. So she may not believe any of her bullshit.
And when John McIntosh says at the end of that, this whole thing would be taken more seriously if written by a white man. And yet, John, it clearly would be taken more seriously if read out by a half Armenian woman.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. To be perfectly honest with all this, there are several things you could attribute to it, and if you really want to take complete stupidity off the table, there are several other things that can really explain it, like certain cognitive biases. People have a tendency to only see things that match up with their view of the world.
Yeah, also narcissism, neurosis.
Yeah.
Any particular, well, not any particular, but there's a decent number of mental disorders that this could be attributed to. It just, why do these people get power? And
well, a lot of that has to do too with we all have, and even this is even true of me. We all have a sort of a visceral revulsion when we're exposed to violence against women or threats against women or children, for that matter, right?
Yeah.
That it's those moments in movies that are like so incredibly powerful, are the moments where women are suffering, and those are the ones that really just kick you in the gut. So, like we have an ability to overlook all of those dead men in those video games and just not really feel a whole lot for them. I mean, like, we notice it, and we, like on sort of the most sort of neutral level, we acknowledge that 99% of the people killed in video games are male, right? But we're not outraged by it in the same way that we are with women. And so when somebody points out, not only are these women in these video games, these female characters in these video games being harmed, right? But this could actually have real life consequences for women in the outside world and their risk of being harmed, right? Everybody goes on high alert. It's like they've all gone to DEFCON 4, right? Boop, 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 boop. And, and they just start flipping their shit. And rational thought, because it's an emotional thing, right? And they've done studies, and they've found that when your emotional center, when your emotions are engaged, you cannot think logically. When you are logically engaged, it inhibits your emotions, right? So, like when you are outraged by something, there's it inhibits any kind of logic that your brain might otherwise apply, right? You can't, it puts all of those systems offline while you're feeling that emotion, right? So I think that this is probably why these people are taken seriously, is because they present something, right, that outrages people, and it outrages most people, right? Like as you look at that scene from Hitman 2, or Hitman Absolution or whatever it was, right, where she had to have used her own footage for that, right, where, it's beat up and kill the hookers and then drag their dead bodies around and around the room, and all of this, and there's this calm narrative of,
I would say that's just malicious.
Mix of sexual objectification and the punishing of women's sexuality, right? All of this stuff, right? That's designed to outrage people. And the moment that they're outraged, they're no longer thinking.
Yeah, that sounds about right. That actually makes perfect sense, and it's a wonderful tool to help, feminists. And this is what I say: feminists will climb over piles and piles of dead men's bodies, find one woman, and cry sexism. And it's astonishing to just witness and try to explain to people and not have them see it.
Well, they don't see it because they don't feel it.
Yeah, I mean, you can't find something if you're not really. Well, you can find it, but it's unlikely. I mean, unless you really look for it.
Well, you can find it, but that's not going to make you care. That's the problem. Is that like you can acknowledge that 10 men go down with the ship to save one woman, right? And most people in their heart of hearts, in their gut, right, and in the place where all of their emotions live, they feel like that's a fair bargain. Right, and if that's how they feel, then that's an evaluation of caring. That's an evaluation of how much they're going to care when a man gets hurt versus when a woman gets hurt.
Mm.
And the feminists of the early 1900s, they had to campaign against the statistics on the Titanic when the strongest causal factor for survival was being female. Like, they had to turn around and say, no, chivalry is dead. Don't pay attention to this. Look over here. We're sad. We're oppressed. Feel sorry for us. They had to... Oh,
well, okay, here's the thing, right? Because a couple of years ago, they came out, some Swedish researchers came out with a study. They've done an analysis of a whole bunch of different shipwrecks, right? And they had them categorized, slow, moderate, quick, the whole bit, and the casualty rates, and whether the women and children first order had been given and whether it hadn't, and the whole thing was to portray women and children first as a myth, right? It was just a myth. And one of the examples that they used was a ship called the Vestris, and the Vestris went down in, I think, 45 minutes after the first alert, first sign of a problem, right? And there was no women and children first order issued. And they used this as one of the examples proving that women and children first was not a thing. Not only was it not a maritime law, but it just wasn't a thing, because look at how the casualties on a ship like the Vestris was almost like women and children barely survived, and lots of men survived, right? Unfortunately for them, if you actually go and look at a detailed report of that incident of the Vestris sinking, the reason why there were so many women and children casualties was because they were on the first 3 lifeboats, and 2 of those lifeboats were lost. Yeah. Right? So they were evacuated first. All the women and children were evacuated first, and the only reason why their casualties were so high was because they lost 2 of their first 3 lifeboats. Right? And they're trying to use this as an example that women and children first was not a consideration. It really didn't have anything to do with anything, blah, 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 because look at all of these women and children who died in this shipwreck.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah,
okay,
no.
that just sounds like cherry picking. Or either cherry picking or confirmation bias or some, and it's not necessarily an exclusive or. Those are, here's one example that proves our point, therefore all examples prove our point. Like, what is it with, no, I'm not going to go into this one.
Yeah, don't try to figure it'll just break your brain. These, I mean, it hurts me too when I try to think about social justice warrior logic. They're not really interested in logic. They have
it's like playing on a seesaw. It's, no matter how much weight you put on one end, they're going to find something to shove on the other end, and that's all they'll play.
Yeah, but all they shovel is shit.
This is their religion.
A shit load of shit.
You're not gonna have. I mean, it's like a cult. You're not going to persuade them. They have to find their way out on their own. There's nothing that really you can do but present them with logic. And if they're more like fence sitters, they're more likely to understand what we're trying to say.
You need a horse to water, but you can't make it not an idiot.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, anything else?
I think this is valuable information, and it was a good discourse. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for coming. Merry Christmas.
And have a Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you.
Ciao.
All right, where's our Alison?
Alison, do we have someone else?
Alison.
Stella!
Bueller.
Oh, me and Mike could always play.
Oh. All right, well, she's doing something. I don't know what, but, so, yeah, no, I just, that it really is, it's sort of, I don't know whether you need to let them come out on their own. I think sometimes you can drop a bomb on them that'll shake them out of it. I have had a few emails from people who had considered themselves to be feminists and no longer do, thanking me for waking them up. So,
the dangerous people, or that might be the wrong word, but the troublesome people are the ones who don't call themselves anything, but nevertheless follow the social justice warrior. They toe the line nevertheless. But if you call them anything, they will go, well, I can't believe you're putting me in a group. I'm not in a group. I'm completely normal. But there is no normal. That sort of thing.
Yeah, well, I find it interesting how they, they're so, like, the evasions that they do, right? And like I still remember that series of 2 videos that I did about Krista Heflin, Femitheist, basically just demonstrating that, okay, through a normal progression of thought and assumptions, if you start from the basic assumptions of feminists, mainstream feminists, right? Their definition, you believe in the patriarchy as defined this way, right? There's just sort of a thought process that you can take, right? Just looking at your assumption and looking at the world, there's sort of a normal, reasonable, almost, rational path you can take to get to the whole 90% of men must die, right? There's more than one, leading from the initial assumption of patriarchy, coupled with our history as a species, right? And just getting feminists, because I was like, if any of you all have any problems with my definition of patriarchy, what all this bullshit means, right? Let me know in the comments, right? Not a single one did. They all basically told me I hadn't read enough feminist theory, that that, oh, I can't tell you if your definition of patriarchy is right until you tell me what your definition is. And I'm like, what did I fucking just say twice in that video? Right? I repeated it verbatim.
Calling it sword fighting the fart didn't go far enough. It's like sword fighting glue on plasma sometimes. I don't even know what that means.
You know, like reminded of Dory Tate.
You know, the only time feminists will ever allow themselves to be pinned down is when feminism is praised for something good. And then, oh yeah, all feminists, that's like the part of the rich history of feminism, this wonderful thing that everybody acknowledges is good, right? But the moment that somebody is like, oh, something bad happened because feminism, right? And they're like, oh, well, that wasn't real feminists, so they don't believe what I believe. Oh, I'm only for equality. That was those other feminists over there, right? And it's just like they will not be pinned down. And you can't even convince them to state their own beliefs, right? Like it really is like when you say, okay, so here's what the Westboro Baptist Church believes. They believe Christ was the Son of God. He died for our sins. They believe in the 10 Commandments, and they believe in the Golden Rule, right? Okay, because those are the things in the Bible. They believe these things, right? Do you believe these things? And they're like, oh, well, no Christian is exactly like the next Christian, you know. If you ask two Christians their definition of Christianity, you get two different answers, right? And then I've already answered your question. I'm going home, right? That's what you get. Right? And you're not even necessarily saying, I'm going to equate you with the Westboro Baptist Church if you agree with them on these things. I just want to know if you and they agree on these few things. They will never come right out and say it. Nope.
The same sort of people who insist not all feminists are like that very often happen to be the same sort of people who insist that not all Muslims are like that. And the very same people who insist that all MRAs are like that. And who will even go on to say all men are like that. And they think that's just fine, given what they've just said. And then your head spins off again, and whatever.
And they can't seem to decide whether or not MRAs are whiny crybabies or dangerous, angry, violent oppressors that are basically just, you know, whacking everybody in the head with their gigantic penises of oppression and speeding women into submission back into the kitchen with them. Yeah. Purple dildo bat.
Either MRAs are like powerful, privileged, white, straight, cisgendered, the most privileged in society apparently. They're either those men who are trying to hold on to their privilege because they're like super powerful because of it, right? Or they're a bunch of whiny piss babies. Yeah.
Yeah, they can't even decide that. They're like, how can you be both? I really don't understand that. I really don't.
It's called doublethink. It doesn't work in brains that work properly. I don't. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I just like
how's it work?
And then they'll be like, oh, girl power, right? Girl power, and women can do anything. We can do it, and all of this stuff, and and women are independent and they're strong and they're blah, 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 right? But the moment you call feminism on some freaking bullshit law that they brought into legislation, oh, I only wish we were so as powerful as they think. They blame feminism for all these things. I only wish we had that kind of power. We're just a bunch of girls.
It's what children do. When children aren't getting their favorite toy, they go, no, me, mine, I want. And then, like an hour later, when you're asking them what they think about what people should do, they go, oh, everyone should be nice and get along. And some people just don't grow out of that fucking dissonance in their fucking brain.
I just don't understand. I don't understand how they're like, feminism is so powerful. It got women the vote. It did all of these things. It got them equal pay. It blah, 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 equal pay legislation. It did this. It did that. Secured abortion rights. Feminism did all these things. They'll even publish these lists of 8 different ways feminism has made life better for men. And, and these are all byproducts of improvements that were made for women, right? Like workplace safety standards, right? When women entered the workforce en masse in the Industrial Revolution, right, there was a push to protect them from the hazards at work, and so they implemented all of these workplace safety standards and all of these shorter working days and all of the rest, right? And this helped men too, right? Okay, just kind of by accident. And so feminism wants to take credit for that, right? That men are safer in the workplace than they were 150 years ago. So they're like they'll even take credit for things they didn't do or they only did by accident, right? Because they're just that awesome until you want to blame them for something, and then they're just like, but we're just a bunch of girls and we can't really do anything.
Like, oh my gosh, you don't want to be beat by a bunch of little girls, do you?
We can't even throw properly.
We can't do anything, you guys. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's like
it's like Cersei Lannister saying, "Oh my gosh, I just came here to have a good time, but honestly, I'm feeling so attacked right now."
Who's this?
Cersei Lannister from Game of Thrones. She's basically this cutthroat, conniving bitch that's always plotting to take down other people, just suddenly being like, oh, why would you think that I would do anything like that? And she.
Oh yeah, no, I'm just.
I only wish I had that much power.
Okay, guys, it's the voice of God. No, I'm gonna bring on another person.
It's not Censor Duck.
Yeah.
God sounds like Alison. Okay.
You know what? Do you guys like Censor Duck? Should I bring him in? Should I bring him out?
No.
I can bring him out. Oh, come on! You know, everybody loves a little Censor Duck. Everybody, even you, Karen.
I will pick you up, Alison. I will pick you up, and I will beat that duck to death with you.
I will find a way to harmonize with it. Every time it squeaks, I will find the harmony that creates the brown noise that will make the Censor Duck shit itself inside out forever.
No close harmony singing, Mike. No close harmony singing.
Not
all
even
right,
guys.
No, come on.
That's the only way to destroy the succubus, Karen.
Okay, I gotta rein in the chaos here because we do have additional callers who might want to actually talk. So I believe we brought on. Nope, he disappeared. Well, thank you to whoever was on. I apologize, I don't remember your name anymore, but I got 15 names that I have to remember. I'm gonna bring on Wendell. Hello, Wendell.
No, I'm sorry. It's not Wendell. It's Rendell. A lot of people pronounce that name wrong. It's Rendell, yeah.
I pronounce everything wrong.
Rendell.
I pronounce everything wrong, so you're not special.
Yeah.
As long as it's Rendell, you're not a troll, so it's all good. Because Rendell would be a bad visit.
Rendell's an awesome name, by the way. Yeah, it's just
thank
awesome.
you.
My 2 cents.
Oh, thank you so much. Anyway, what I want to ask is a really important issue for me has been television. Since I grew up watching television, and television has just sort of like been my second life almost, though. I really love it. I really love it. Anyway, the question I wanted to ask was, what do you guys think of the tropes on television, like the double standard tropes, like TV shows where they think where it's okay for like a girl to like stalk a guy to a point where it gets creepy, but if it's like the other way around, everyone in the show constantly condemns it.
Yeah, I think a lot of those things, a lot of the tropes, they tend to be helpful storytelling methods. I mean, there are things that you see back in even ancient mythology. It's things. These are story aspects that they just sort of work. However, there are some that are just really ridiculous, just outlandish that I don't always agree with. I think that are just completely dumb. And sometimes people will actually try to be edgy, and they just end up playing into another trope. They don't understand that pretty much all of storytelling is one trope or another. It's almost like just an amalgam of different tropes, just rearranged differently to look like
it's new. There's only like 8 different stories in the world. There's like 8 basic stories and just different ways of telling them and different ways of...
There's several theories on this. There's a theory that there's only 3 different plots. There's a theory there's only 7. There's a theory there's only 15. There's several different theories on how many fundamental plots there are. There's even a theory that there's only 1 fundamental plot. It's all very complicated.
Yeah, but I mean, like, but if you look at it, I mean, like, we have archetypes. I mean, like, I hate the word trope now just because of Anita Sarkeesian, right?
Yeah.
You get archetypes. You know, we have employed archetypes throughout the history of literature and drama and all of those things, right? I mean, even just looking at visual art and the odalisque being, you know, just so many varying, beautiful paintings of women lounging, semi-clad, you know, sort of just sprawled and sort of awaiting. They're just awaiting.
Voluptuously built women, usually.
Well, or, you know, not all of them were voluptuous. Many of them, you know, there were the Helga paintings. I forget the artist, but they were quite famous. That it was his, I guess, his lover, and she was kind of like a Valkyrie. She wasn't really an extremely classically beautiful woman, and yet the paintings that he did of her were absolutely stunning. And I mean, you know, like, you could just tell that those paintings were absolutely something that he felt compelled to do. And so, I mean, like, you look at those things, those are tropes too, right? All of these things that is very, very rare that any artist is not going to employ some tropes in their art, whether it's a book or a movie or whatever. I mean, like, how do you convey all of that information to the viewer, the observer, for like a bit character, a character that just walks on and walks off? How do you convey enough about that character to sort of integrate them into the plot without using a trope, without using some sort of device, right?
How do you set up an expectation and then confound that expectation without having a trope to harbor that expectation in the first place? Yeah.
That's right. You use a trope and then subvert it. You know, like, this is really the thing. The thing with the one of the tropes that Joss Whedon used in the Avengers was, you know, the trope of Scarlett Johansson tied to the chair, and, you know, she's looking like a frail, very, very feminine woman in an evening dress, right? And then he subverts it by having her kick everybody's ass, right? I mean, like, that's, you can't subvert a trope unless you're employing the trope to begin with, right? Mm-hmm. So, I mean, it just, you sort of, there's no way to write without them. There's no way to create fictional content without using them.
Yeah.
There's no way to even, I mean, there's the fact that the zeitgeist exists in the first place. It's not that you can't do it without doing it. It's that you can't do it without already being in that environment, so to speak.
Yeah.
If I have any actual issues with television today, it's the rise of reality television and how it's pretty much killed, like, everything that I love on television. Like, all of my educational programming just overrun with nothing but bullshit reality television. There's nowhere to go to escape it anymore. It's taken over.
There's the internet. There's always the internet.
Yeah, I know. Makes me sad.
Well, I mean, like, TV, there are some things on TV that bother me, and one of the things is it's not so much how they treat men on TV, it's how they're not allowed to treat women on TV. Because if everybody was fair game, right? If everybody was fair game and it was just fine to have a bimbo like Chrissy from Three's Company, right, on a TV show now, a fictional TV show, a sitcom or whatever, right? If that was okay, then everything would be fine, because you would have a balance of positive and negative sort of presentations of both men and women. Right? You would have stupid men, you would have stupid women, you would have smart men, you would have smart women, right? You would have all of the entire panoply of humanity being presented to you in caricature, which is essentially what happens in a sitcom, or what happens in a lot of these sort of shows that are, they're only like 40 minutes of time each episode, right? So you would have a balance of all of this, right? But now at this point, it's almost like you're not allowed to present women in a negative way, or if you present them in a negative way, you can only present them as negative in the sense that they're victims. And I think that is actually a negative portrayal of anybody, to present them just as a victim, and just that being their defining quality, right? So you just really aren't allowed to basically have a woman in a sitcom be stupid. And like I said with Dr. Paul Nathanson, 10 years of watching commercials, and every single one that sort of puts a woman and a man in competition with each other over anything, even just down to how many servings of milk you drink a day, the woman wins every time, 100%. And he's like, I didn't believe it when my colleague told me, because nothing in sociology is ever 100%. But then my partner and I watched for 10 years carefully, and yeah, it was pretty much 100%.
Like, you can never actually have another Lucille Ball on television. You can never have like another I Love Lucy kind of scenario now. If you look at the way things are nowadays, you could never have that show on television now.
Oh, I mean, like, I think there's some shows, like, I still remember an episode of Everybody Loves Raymond, where Deborah was really mad at her mother-in-law. She was, like, furiously angry, and because she was so angry, she kept just having this urge to have angry sex with Ray. And so Ray went out of his way to sort of perpetuate the hostility, right? Oh, I don't think you should forgive her. She's like, I think I should forgive her, and I just go make amends. And he's like, no, she totally dissed you, and you can't stand for that. And then she'd be like, you're right. And then she'd dump his bones, right? And
that's coercion rape. That's definitely coercion rape of some description, isn't it?
But I mean, you sort of look at it and you think, it's portraying him as being like, an asshole, right? In perpetuating these hostilities so he can get sex, right? But it also portrays her as being immature, right? And so there's still a few little inklings out there, or at least there were 10 years ago, of female characters who could be brought low by their own bad behavior, or they could be brought low by their own stupidity or their own irrationality or whatever, right? But I don't ever see that coupled with you don't ever see the less than perfect woman with the perfect man, ever, right? As much as Deborah in that episode was much less than perfect, Ray was arguably also much less than perfect in how he behaved, right? So it's really I don't think you ever find a situation where a man comes out on top, at least in the morality department, the intellect department, right, the strength of character department, any of that.
Actually, you just described the entire plot of Sailor Moon. That's really what that whole show is. When you look at the relationship between the main character and her boyfriend, because he is depicted as really the perfect guy. He's smart, handsome, he has healing powers, the whole shebang. As it sounds like it's out of left field, and she is a total ditz who keeps falling on her face all the time, and the only thing she does right is like saving the planet. That's it.
Oh, is that all?
and that's only because she's got magical moon powers. So it's like it's kind of screwed up when Sailor Moon does things better in some ways.
This is one point I want to make before we move on to the next call, and we should. Very often when you're arguing with a feminist, the first concession, the first olive branch they'll give you is, yes, it's true, men are often treated like, buffoons on TV. And this always strikes me as disingenuous because it's kind of worse for women in a way, because men get to emasculate themselves on TV. They get to be as wacky and as silly as they like, whereas women don't. They have to be this sort of prissy, perfect thing all the time. And it's just ironic to me that the first and only thing many feminists will mention is the one and only area in which men are actually in some small degree freer. And that's the one thing they would take away. But yeah.
Yeah. All right. Next, does that answer your question? Awkward.
I hope we answered something. I hope you're still here. We spent ages answering that question. Sorry.
Yeah, we're supposed to say something now. I'm off my game because I'm on my phone now instead of like Skype like I usually am, so I have no cues or anything like that in the background.
Yeah, well, I never paid attention to cues myself, but at the same time, I'm not getting any cues from Alison in the.
Yeah,
bring forth the callers, bring forth the people, if you could.
Bring forth the callers. Otherwise, we're just gonna start talking about artsy glass dildos. The threat stands.
Yeah, no, I don't understand the whole dildo thing. I just don't.
I don't understand the artsy glass dildo thing. They just keep making weirder and weirder ones. I'm like, okay, I get it.
No,
You decided to make a dildo out of glass.
I can understand the artsy glass aspect of it. I just don't quite get the dildo aspect of it. I don't know.
I don't get the idea of fleshlights either. I don't understand how it could possibly be better than my hand. My hands are brilliant, you guys. I mean, I can't even. You know what I'm saying?
No.
Why would it be any different for women? How your own fist? How is that any worse than a dildo?
No, I mean like when it's your hand, you got so much control over what's going on, right? And it's just like you just can. Yeah, no, I just and it's not cold glass.
Yeah. The thing that's most bizarre to me is I think the most bizarre glass dildo that I saw when I was just, going on Amazon because someone wanted to know what I meant by artsy glass dildos. So I went for a search and I found one that was in the shape of a gun. It looks like there was like a little bit of fire at the end.
Culture?
Exactly. But wait, no, it didn't look like an actual gun, but it was in the shape of a proper. Looked more like a toy gun kind of situation, and the end of it was apparently the insertable bit with the part with the trigger and the handle outside. I'm like, are you serious? What's the point of even adding a fake trigger there?
Yeah.
It was so ridiculous. Like, why would you make this?
Yeah, it's a little weird.
It's just so bizarre.
I begin to wonder if something really bad has happened with Blog Talk, that we've been allowed to talk about dildos for this long and no one stopped us. No one wrenched us free from this.
Alison, please, for the love of God, stop us before we move to anal beads.
Are we still on air? I can't still be on air, surely.
Another thing I don't quite understand, but yeah. I guess I just don't. I don't understand the whole idea of props in sex.
I think it's something that some people have a tendency to like. I mean, I happen to know about that stuff because it was something I've been into, the props, things like that. That's just me because I've been mostly alone and by myself for a good portion of my life. So that's been an interest. But and I also did reviews for a while. So.
Business is
yes,
back.
Business. Yes, there is back.
Yes, the voice of God is back.
Yes, finally. Thank you for stopping me.
You know what? I'm actually busy in the back room talking to people who don't actually want to come on air. So I am doing stuff. I'm not just sitting on my ass, twiddling the thumbs up it.
Well, we've gone deep, silly place. You need to save us from the deep, silly place.
I can
otherwise I will start talking about the Ross later.
All right, I'm going to bring on, let's see, something, Andy. Andy.
Hello.
Are you there?
Hello.
Yeah, hello. Hello, you are on air. You said you had a couple of questions for the Badgers?
Well, yes.
Go right ahead.
First of all, I'd just like to say Feliz Navidad, Merry Christmas, Happy December Day, whatever. Hope you're having a wonderful one. I sure am.
Merry Christmas.
And so I have a couple of questions. First one actually comes from my girlfriend who saw the thing today and said that she wanted me to ask you about this. What is your opinion on the way that feminists treat women who happen to be in ethnic minorities?
Oh, you said the way feminists treat ethnic minorities?
Yeah.
Women who are ethnic minorities.
But also men.
Oh. That's kind of an interesting thing because it seems like they only treat them special when it suits them. They only seem to care about ethnic minorities when they are the ones that agree with them. If you happen to be like a very conservative Muslim woman, they really don't care about you unless it's for political reasons. It really
they'll
depends.
notice. To some degree, they'll notice. Some racists remain racist, and some racists convince themselves that they're just being nice to these other races. They continue to see color in everything, but they convince themselves that, it's for good reasons. It's a whole other kind of racism. The social justice racism. Like, they see race everywhere, and they decide to, grab hold of it and, make it their shield, so to speak.
One of the interesting things too is that it's extremely rare to find a feminist who criticizes Islam. In fact, if you criticize Islam, you get told by most feminists that you're Islamophobic. But at the same time, I had lots of feminists come on my channel and tell me I was wrong when I did my when female privilege backfires video, which posited that even hardline fundamentalist Islamic cultures like Afghanistan under the Taliban are not inherently misogynistic. They're not oppressive to women. They're oppressive to everybody, but they're not oppressive to women, and in particular. And I had a bunch of feminists come on and tell me I was so full of shit, blah, blah, blah. Of course it's misogynistic, blah, 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 which I found really interesting because, if I were to say Islam is so misogynist, they'd be like, not all Muslims are like that, or the Quran doesn't really blah, 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 or they wouldn't say anything because, or they would avoid the entire freaking thing, or they would call me Islamophobic. But when it comes to me saying Islam isn't misogynistic, they object strenuously.
Yeah, well, she actually asked me the question because she was thinking about it, where this SJW at our school was, I'm black and my girlfriend. No, sorry, I'm white and my girlfriend's black, and she was often told that she needed to break up with me because I was only dating her so I could oppress her and exoticize her when, that's not true. But, yeah, that's what they were trying to tell her. They were like, oh, you have to break up with this guy. He only likes you because he's exoticizing you. And, yeah. And,
exoticizing your skin color.
I mean,
Well,
I
ask them.
I like the thing that you said about Islam, but I wasn't exactly asking about that because Islam isn't really a race.
Yeah, they're pretty screwed up about that. The way that this works is it works with a intersectionality or whatever. It's the concept of privilege that basically, since that there's a differential there in perceived power between you two, there must be some reason why you would want to date down. because the way it was explained to me in sociology is that, and in terms of standing, the white man has the highest position. And this actually happened in sociology classes. The teacher, the professor, wrote this out on the board, that in terms of who had the most equity in terms of standing would be a white woman and a black man, which is why they had a tendency to pairing was more prevalent. I'm like, really? Holy shit, that's racist. That's racist. And it was that happened in my sociology class, and that's what they really believe. They believe that because there's a difference in perceived power or whatever, that there must be some other ulterior motive for you wanting to be with a woman of color.
Well, consider.
Oh yeah, and
consider what it would look like if a white man was in a relationship with a black woman and did only love her for who she is. What would that look and sound like, and how is it any different from your thing? And what are the criteria here?
It really felt like they were like the SJW crowd at my school was specifically trying to sort of dehumanize the both of us. And instead of, having this entire concept of, all they're individuals, it was trying to lump us into groups and sort of making it, I'm an evil sociopath who just wants to colonize, the Congo and all that and steal all the, resources and oppress everyone. And then she's just the gullible little dumb person who's too dumb to fall for it. So these wonderful heroes must come rescue her, and it can't possibly be that, people of different races can love each other, right?
Yeah, that's ridiculous. I mean, they are so full of shit. I can't say that enough. I've seen so many wonderful relationships with people of different colors and races and nationalities and cultures coming together, and they're really great people, and you love being around them. I don't understand why these people throw such bullshit at something so beautiful.
Probably because it makes them uncomfortable for reasons that they don't want to examine, and so they don't, and they just project it. But I wanted to thank Andy, and we do have to move on to the next caller.
So great. Thank you for having me.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you for coming on, and do call in again whenever we have the ability to have these shows. I'm going to bring on Will now. Will, he's got a bit of a serious topic to bring up. So, hi, Will, go ahead.
Hi, my name is Will. I'm from Texas, and, well, I've kind of mentally prepared myself for the series of really fucking horrible statements I'm about to make, but I am a sort of a victim of the female on male rape, but it's not really the term, because it's really molestation, because I was very young. Like, I don't know exactly how young, because it was a very long time ago. I'm 21 now, but I know it was after I was 6, because that's when I kind of started remembering things, and after we moved into a new house. So, and I don't really know what kind of question I have, but there's a couple of questions I kind of want to ask. The jitters have gotten the best of me, but
don't let your jitters get the best of you. Go ahead and ask me if you have a question.
Oh, Jesus, my car. Because like I said, I was very young at the time, and it was my sister who had done these things to me. It was no penetration, though, so I guess I can hold that on my card, I guess, if there is a card. But, alas, I was just wondering, how do I go from this?
Go
ahead.
It's a really tough question, because normally I would recommend therapy, but therapy has like the entire field of psychology has sort of been invaded by delusion and sort of the man blaming model and minimizing of men's pain and suffering and really catering the treatments and the therapy toward how women deal with these things. Go ahead.
When I've been going to therapy for quite a while because my mother saw that there was a lot of behavioral problems with me because I have ADHD, and I was diagnosed with, I think, Asperger's syndrome and I think like junior high. The teacher saw that and she's like, "Hey, this guy's not really that right." But anyway, when I finally told my mom what happened, I was very suicidal at the time period. I had finally decided to tell her I could not really hold back any longer, and I figured if I'm going to go, let's just get that out. And I just kind of, I don't know why I did, because I was really fucked up back in those days. I did a lot of things I look back and I just kind of cringe at. But alas, I'm not very well, and I'm not very normal, and I'm not very happy.
Well, how did your mother take that? How did she respond? She didn't in a lot of ways. We went to therapy, but I think the therapy was less about the actual event and more about the fact that I had left a suicide note, and I had not attended because I had been taking antipsychotics for a long time, and I did not know they were antipsychotics. I thought they were sleeping pills. And I thought, well, I take enough of these and I can just go to sleep, and well, it didn't happen. So. Well, yeah, no, it's basically what they want to do is they want to treat the symptom rather than the underlying cause. Yeah. Your mother your mother sounds like, and I can understand this impulse on the part of a mother, does not want to look at the fact that her daughter might have done something really horrendous.
She's the second youngest. I am the youngest in the family.
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
She's about maybe I'm not entirely sure because I kind of don't keep up with their birthdays. She's like 5 years maybe older than me, but she knew what was going on and I really didn't. So.
I have a suggestion, and this is just this is just a suggestion. This is just what helps me, and I went through a lot of abuse, and I went through that mode where I was suicidal and I had to be hospitalized and all that stuff. And, and it's you don't like to go into that stuff, but one of the things that tends to help me, and this is after all the therapy, after all of the different things, and me being moved around in foster homes and everything, what I find helps me is putting time into something that gives you tangible results, if that makes any sense. There's something about feeling the sense of being rewarded for your effort. You know what I'm saying? You do something that will give you a tangible accomplishment, like building a new skill, and usually something that might have to do with maybe some of your trust issues or something like that. Or that, like, if you have to, like, volunteering or something like that, where you might have to be around, I don't know, around women or whatever issues you might have, something that allow you to take baby steps.
Yeah. I'm an Eagle Scout, and my old scout troop really liked me because I was always the sort of the cool, rebellious sort of one, I guess you could say, in some regards. Because eventually the parents stopped giving me shit for cussing. So.
There you go. That actually would be, I think, a lot of. I would actually suggest for any man who's going through and having difficulty just sort of resolving issues like this, I would actually suggest watching, because we've really largely we've institutionalized out all of these things. There's a video, of, I think it's called Haka, the New Zealand military. They now, they've integrated an Aboriginal Maori ritual into their funerals. And it's the most amazing. Gives you goosebumps watching it, right?
Sorry.
But I would recommend, because that I think is one of those things that's sort of age-old wisdom of how you have a fallen brother in arms and you honor him with this kind of warrior chant and all of this stuff, right? While you're standing shoulder to shoulder. And like when I was watching that, I kept thinking of Tom Golden's speech at the International Conference for Men's Issues. And he actually, almost his entire speech was how men heal from loss, grief, pain, suffering, all of that, and how they don't. Right? How they really, the things that we do for women that really don't work for men. And we've sort of eliminated so many of the things. They're bringing them back in Australia, men's sheds, where men can just sort of stand side by side and perform a task together and spend time together, and even just that small thing is huge for men. Women don't tend to understand it. They're like, what does he even get out of that, right? But that kind of thing can really, really help men, and we've just kind of forgotten in our concentration on women over the last 50 years or so, and our deep suspicion of men spending time together as men, right? We've really, really, really sort of forgotten how men heal from these kinds of things, and how sometimes it's very different from the way women do. So I would actually recommend maybe watch Tom Golden's speech, because he said a lot of really, really interesting things that seem to have applied in the lives of men that I know. And maybe think of something that you can sort of do along those lines. That, that don't. A psychologist is going to sort of expect you to not only to interact with them as a woman would, but to be helped by that in the way a woman would, and that's necessarily the case. It's not necessarily how things are going to play out.
I used to be really big in Minecraft, and what I did is I put a lot of, I remember there's this one day I got Minecraft and I played around with it, and I decided to build what was the world's biggest TNT cannon. And I built it. It fires over 1,000 and 200 blocks of TNT barrels.
That's pretty impressive. That is pretty impressive, actually. I play Minecraft.
And I do it with a single button press. I've learned how to make it so that I can extend the button's circuit line longer, and then apply it to a compactor, which short circuits itself, sending a repeating signal that turns on and off and on and off multiple times. And when you do this, you make the entire system just go and flicker, and you launch multiple TNT into a single firing chamber, and then you just have as much TNT as you can put in the back and fire that out. It destroys servers.
Yeah, I find Minecraft to be incredibly relaxing too. There's something about it, about creating something you're on your own. You go through all of the actions to gather all the materials, and then you build something wonderful. You feel like you have some control over something for once in your own little sandbox, and you just hatch things out. But that's the thing. I think that I feel. Feel that doing these things, tangible change, working on a project, that almost helps me, just rather than not having anything to do at all. I think I I have a tendency to relapse a little more when I have nothing in front of me, like no projects, nothing. So
that seems to be the trend with a lot of the games like I play, because a lot of the games I play are thinking games. Like there's strategy games, and there's like they're not just so much build 20 Marines and then send them to point A and just see what happens. It's like something like Shogun 2, where you have to actually use the tactics and strategy and everything. And I've always kind of liked something that's like it's intellectually challenging, or what I'll do is I'll argue philosophy with myself in the room, which I've always liked.
Do you still have to see your sister?
Wait, what?
The question is, like, do you still have to see her close quarters?
My therapist, or because my therapist is a man, but my sister.
Yeah. So
I'm in the car right now because she's at the house for Christmas, like every year. But honestly, I think, because I have 3 sisters, and she's ranked number 2 on the list, mostly because I've learned to kind of forgive what's happened to me and try to move past it. Not mentally, of course, but for emotional connections.
Yeah.
Because that's all I could do with what I had. And it was the best way, other than, my writing, to get that all out there.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Okay, well, I wanted to thank you, Will. I know this is a really difficult topic. I'm going to see if I can maybe point you to some additional resources in the back room off air, because it's a little more private.
Thank you.
And thank you for being so open about talking about what happened to you and what you're going through. But we do need to move on to the next caller. Thanks again, Will.
Yeah, because I heard I saw Karen say right, and you didn't bring out Censor Duck. I caught it.
Oh, Censor Duck is off the job tonight. He's off for the holidays.
It's very important that we get this right tonight.
Yes. Also, I really like Mike's videos. I just want to say that, and his very beautiful, deep voice.
Told you your voice is sexy, Mike.
Thank you very much.
I heard an additional squeak. Is there a contender to Censor Duck's throne?
No.
I don't think so. I don't have one. I have a man here lying with his head on my hip snoring. But I don't have a duck here squeaking, so.
I heard a squeak. Well, anyway, let's bring on our next guest, Mike. Mike,
hey, how you guys doing?
There? Oh, we're doing well.
Mike.
One squeak, Mike.
First, I wanted to say that I'm in a kind of a bad service area. I'm right near the Verdugo Mountains, so I might not be able to hear everything you guys are saying, so I apologize. And also, I just want to say I'm really floored that I get to talk to you guys directly. I'm a huge fan, and I really think everything you guys are doing is very amazing and very important, and definitely keep it up, because we definitely need you guys.
Thank you.
No problem. My question was, I actually have 2. I don't want to tie up the lines, so I'm hoping there's time for a quick hypothetical question at the end. But my main reason for calling is just for a little bit of advice. I'm just getting started in Hollywood. I moved down here for school because I'm trying to get into the acting, the industry, but mostly for acting. And it just seems like, everywhere I've been, it's been very, the feminist narrative has had kind of a gridlock on everything, as you guys know. But it seems like when I moved out here, it was like tenfold. Everything is just choked down with it. And, I can't even really make friends and really be myself with them, without worry that, anything I talk about is going to be shot down and I'm going to be shunned. And in the career I'm trying to get into, who you know and their reputation of you is very important. So I'm just wondering some advice on what I can do to deal with that.
Karen?
Sorry, give me a minute.
Well, to be honest, I've actually heard complaints from other people who live in that area of just the hyper SJW attitude is just way out of control from what I understand.
Absolutely.
It's just something that I keep hearing again and again. Like, one of the things that people just, upon meeting you, try to sort of poke you and prod you for information to find out that, to try and make sure that you're not one of those filthy conservatives or any of those other
relentlessly,
things,
yeah.
Or anything that might be out of order, like make sure you're not a racist or anything, or a meat eater or whatever it is that they feel is the devil, personally.
Pretty much, yeah.
Oh gosh.
Even when I'm in classes, we'll be talking about something that has nothing, absolutely the farthest thing away from any type of social justice issue, and it'll be slipped in somewhere about, women's rights and feminism, and it's just like this overhanging shadow that's pretty much choking everything. And if you don't fall in the line, then your career's over out here, pretty much.
Well, if you look at Hollywood, I mean, it's Hollywood, academia, like, you look at the places where feminism has the biggest sort of stranglehold, and it's in media, academia, politics, right? Media isn't just news media. Media is, pop culture. It's movies. It's TV. It's all of that kind of stuff, right? It's like any other ideology. Its main, the most passionate people among those who believe it, they want to convince others, right? Convince others to their way of thinking. And the best ways that you can do that are through politics and legislation and the law, through academia and teaching, through entertainment and news media, right? Those are all of the main, and then, social work and things like that, right? So you're looking at, of course, the people who feel really strongly about their particular ideology are going to want to gravitate to those things so that they can spread their ideas. On top of that, I think that there's an overlap between, I think there's probably an overlap between personality disorder and feminism. When you look at some of the symptoms of personality disorder and how well they dovetail with feminist theory, just even, things like rape culture, patriarchy, delusions of conspiracies and stuff like that, that, there's this oppressive force that's operating on you and everyone else and the whole bit, right? And it's invisible, but it's there, right? That you have this overlap, I think, among those two things. That you also, I think, have a significant overlap among people who have personality disorders and people who want to get into acting and people who want to get into industries where they can sort of feed their narcissism, right? And so that might be why Hollywood seems to be infested with feminist thought, is because you really are looking at maybe people who, because they are attracted to work that feeds sort of any kind of narcissistic tendencies, they would also be attracted to feminist ideas, right?
I have a question, though. I have a question for our guest. What exactly do you want to go into? Do you want to get into movies or theater, or what aspect of the performing arts are you wanting to get into? Because if I had to tell you where to go, where you were most likely to find at least some folks who might ally with you, it would probably be within comedy, and those who tend to be in comedy films, to be honest. They tend to get away with a lot more than others would.
Yeah, I think you have a really good point with that. I mean, my main goal is I really want to get into television. I know that encompasses a huge spectrum of different genres. And to me, I mean, I'm really big on drama, but I mean, comedy would be, I think, just as rewarding. And I think television, I would have those. I don't want to say options, but I would have a little bit more leeway. I think you're absolutely right. But as far as your question goes, I would really love to get into television.
Yeah, I mean, if you can get into comedy programming, the type that has a tendency to push the envelope, they are more likely. I mean, this is just my assessment. I mean, I would think that they'd be more likely to, be tolerant of different viewpoints because they, they're willing to take risks, take chances, and do things that are risque.
To some degree, their job is to push the envelope.
Exactly.
And
your job is
with more
to
rigid
push
genres
the limit.
like drama, their job is to keep the envelope as it is.
Yeah, your job is to push the envelope and to keep finding where the line is, what you can get away with.
Oh, which
is not to say you'll have creative freedom if you go into acting in comedy. If you go into acting in any genre, you will start off as essentially selling your head, and it's a very tough business. You need to have considerably tough. You need to have some tough stuff in your ego to get through that sort of lifestyle, because it does involve a lot of rejection. It involves more rejection than acceptance, So and power to anyone who can persevere with that sort of drive.
Yeah. Well, thank you for coming on.
Oh yeah. No problem. I appreciate you guys having me. Go ahead.
Is there anything else?
No, that was pretty much it. My hypothetical question, and the only reason I'm asking is because I was posting this question to the Q&A threads when you guys were doing Ask the Badgers. It might seem kind of strange, but I was just wondering, what do you guys assume would happen, if a lot of the feminists and a lot of the women that are always complaining about being objectified, etc. I mean, what do you think would happen if in, Twilight Zone land they just lost that sexual power? I mean, if you understand what I'm saying.
Oh, the howls would be heard from outer space.
They're like, why aren't you paying attention to me?
Yeah,
it will be a moment where all the men sort of wander out into the street and sort of that morning sort of classical music plays, and they go, "What the hell have we been doing with our lives for the past 1,000 generations?"
Oh, it'd be like that episode of The Simpsons where they got rid of TV and all the kids
and they're all playing with shit. Yeah, that's what I was thinking of.
Music, the Debussy music, springtime with a fawn or whatever it was, and and they're all rubbing their eyes and blinking in the sunlight, and oh my goodness.
Okay, guys, it's the voice of God again.
It's not 17 inches.
Did we go silly place?
Yes, okay, don't worry about it. It's just we have a lot of callers now, just recently a ton, and we're not going to get to you guys, I'm sorry. But I do want to bring in the next individual who is in the queue, and I want to thank Mike for coming on air and chatting with you guys. I don't know when he probably dropped out of the conversation, but thank you, Mike. And let's bring on Duran. Hello, Duran.
Hello.
You have entered the Badger Cave.
Oh, all right. First of all, Merry Christmas from the place where we always dream of a white Christmas. The
white
constantly
male
hot Australia.
A white cisgendered male. That kind of white Christmas. Never mind.
Yeah. Sorry.
Well, you're not going to get a fucking Aborigine Christmas anytime soon, are you? I'm calling about a recent article I read about Obama completely ignoring all the male reporters in a press conference and making history, according to this article.
How progressive of him. He only called on female reporters. And then some stupid woman on Twitter said, Obama only called on female reporters. Why? Because female reporters are awesome. Yeah, no. It was because he was pandering.
Fighting sexism by throwing more sexism at it.
Somebody really needs to actually make these women watch. There was an opening to a comedy special, right? It was like maybe a comedy show or whatever, right? It was just like 10 minutes of stand-up, and the guy opened with, he comes out on stage and he's like, first thing I want to say is I think women are way smarter than men, right? And cheers, like just erupt, woo, woo, woo. And as all the cheering going on, he's like, and the reason I say that, and the reason, because he's trying to like get through the cheers. It's like, and the reason I say that is because women really like to hear me say that. And there's this kind of pause, right?
It's Jimmy Carr, apparently.
Sitting there.
The posh sort of British guy looks like a Lego figurine. Jimmy Carr, apparently.
The women
I like his material. I don't like his delivery. That's all I'll say.
We got played, right? We got played, and it's like, but somebody needs to actually sit these women down and make them watch that, because that's what Obama is doing, right? I don't think Obama respects women. If he respected women, he would treat them equally.
Yeah.
It's just, it's absolutely, it's disgusting. It's a disgusting display of
actually equally, not equally within the framework of whatever he's supposed to be working in. So
pandering of the worst sort.
He would treat women the way he treated men. He would give them the same respect or disrespect based on their merits, right? He would not single them out for any kind of attention, right, based on their genitalia, right? He would not pander to them, right? And if women in America had the brains that feminists claim they do, they would see that bullshit for what it is, and they would be insulted by it. They would be just as insulted as when that comedian said, and the reason I say that is because women really like to hear me say it.
Yeah.
You can't go insinuating that Obama is some kind of sultan who needs a harem, because that's racist or something.
Oh my God! Alison, you had that video, that really brief video up, and it was just the juxtaposition between the male sea lion, and his adoring harem all leaning up against him, right? And Obama signing the Lilly Ledbetter Act with all of these beaming women standing against him, right? And I think did that video get pulled down, or was it uploaded on a channel that wasn't yours? Because I looked for it like repeatedly over the last year or two, and I haven't been able to find it again, right? Just the back and forth with it of those two images with this kind of creepy music, in the background. It was absolutely stunning, right? It was absolutely beautiful. It was just the most beautiful comparison, and that is exactly what he's doing. He's not treating women like equals. He's treating them as his own personal harem. He's treating American women as a harem, and he's the glorious benefactor of the harem. That's all he's doing.
Well, his alpha wife might be the glorious benefactor, the unelected official known as Michelle Obama. Whatever. Muhammad didn't have an alpha wife or anything.
Well,
now, to scale back from the presidential press conference and on a daily interaction, how would you deal with, the fighting sexism with more sexism? If you come across that kind of situation, what would your advice be to a man who's trying to face that?
To a politician?
No, just a regular guy. So, say at work or something, or on a college campus, or anywhere where, there's a favor towards women, and you basically they're not being heard, not being seen. I mean, how would you overcome that? I mean, it's a very broad situation. So I'm not trying to be specific or anything.
I would maybe be like, when I deal with my children, right? I condescend to them too. I condescend to them. I give them extra help. I give them breaks. I don't hold them entirely accountable for their actions, and I acknowledge that they can't quite make it on their own, and they need, a boost. Are you a child? Is that what you need, to be condescended to? To be told, yeah, gold star, A for effort, even though you failed the exam? Is that what you need to get through your day? Or are you an adult? This is really the thing. This is the thing that drives me fucking crazy about feminism. Is so much of it is, even the whole idea of banning the word bossy, right? And coming from the women who were in that initiative, right? Who are all super successful at, I was called bossy. Yeah, I know, and now you're the fucking COO of fucking Facebook. Oh my God, right? You really didn't get anywhere after your spirit was broken for being called bossy, right? And did it ever occur to you, somewhere in the back of your brain, that maybe you were being bossy, right? Maybe you were being cunty, right? And that when boys behave that way, maybe they don't get called bossy, although I'm sure many do, but they, instead of being called bossy, they get called bullies.
Okay, this is the voice of God calling in.
All right.
I think what Karen's trying to say is find the battles that you can fight.
Can I just get a link for how to listen live? Because not be able to find it on the Blog Talk Radio.
Alison, can you give that to him?
It should be /honeybadgerradio/Christmas open lines. If you go to the Honey Badger Brigade, the website, and click on the thing that says upcoming for the holidays, the little badger head with the mistletoe, you should get a link. Of course.
Oh, okay, great.
Yeah.
Some of us are on the telephone like me.
Okay, so thank you, Mike. Sorry, not Mike. My apologies. Thank you, Duran. I'm going to mispronounce everything tonight. Okay, I'm going to bring on who's been holding for the longest. The Green Knight. The Green Knight.
Oh. Sir Gawain's nemesis.
Go ahead.
Karen, you nerdy, wonderful, wonderful woman.
You're on. Green
Sir
Knight.
Gawain,
you're on.
Green Knight.
Can you hear us, Green Knight? Oh, looks like Green Knight's having technical issues. So let's move on to the next person.
Oh, bummer.
And that would be Chris. Chris.
I win. Green Knight loses. Oh, yeah. Merry Christmas.
Hey, my technicality.
Hey, I have a question. look like chicks I don't want to bang in the first place.
Okay. Why do they look like that? No. You're phrasing the question wrong. Why do chicks who look like, why do women who look like women you don't want to bang in the first place become feminists?
Is probably the better question.
That's the question. I do think feminism, as much as Rush Limbaugh can be like a gigantic cunt, and just phrase things in the most objectionable way possible, notwithstanding the fact that I just said the word cunt on the air. So I don't really have, it's kind of pot and kettle in some ways with me and someone like him. But he basically said feminism is a means by which unattractive women can gain access to the mainstream. And I don't think
which
that's...
could not be further from the truth.
I don't think that this is the reason all feminists get into it, but I think that there is a significant number of feminists who are they're unattractive, and I don't even think it's just physically unattractive. I think they have unattractive personalities, and therefore it's very difficult for them to have access to the mainstream, have access to just mainstream life without having this agenda that they can push.
Yeah.
Right? So
they're like, why won't you date me? Why do men never want... It's because it's the patriarchy that did this.
Yeah, well, Amanda Marcotte, right? I mean, you look at her and physically, she's really, 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 she's not a model, right?
Yeah.
She's not even close. But that would not, there would be plenty of men out there who would be interested in dating somebody who looked like she looks, right? If she didn't also have that personality. If she didn't also have a gigantic cunty personality to go with it.
Yeah, right? This is why you don't want to fuck feminists, because despite what feminists tell you, you are attracted to personalities. And for some weird reason, you don't want to fuck people with shitty personalities.
Yeah,
you're told that this isn't normal for a man, but it is. It totally is.
Why don't you like me for my personality?
You don't have one?
Yeah, they're always like, we want you to like us for our personalities and not this cleavage that I'm shoving in your face right now.
Yeah.
Okay, next.
You fuckface.
Okay, I'm going to bring on the next caller. We actually had Manhood Academy call in.
Oh,
but
really?
They didn't even wait 10 minutes.
Oh, really?
Like that.
No, I think they're gone now. But anyway.
Yeah. No, if he comes back, bring him on, because I would love to talk to that guy.
Oh, sure. I don't want to talk to him. I did tell him that this show is... Hey, guys.
Keeps calling me
guys. I did tell him that this show was really about helping people. It's not about having an argument or screaming invective, which is exactly what's going to happen when we bring them on. But so I wanted to get through the people who have called in who actually have real serious issues to talk about, but as opposed to being called a coward for 30 minutes. But if he does call back in and we have a few minutes left, we are still taking more calls. We are still ending up with more callers. At this point in time, I don't call in anymore because we cannot actually take any more callers. We have to start wrapping up the show. We are past the 2 hours mark that we usually end on, and I understand that there are a lot of people who are interested in talking to us, so we will go over. But at this point in time, we're not going to be taking any more callers. So please, and I apologize to anybody who did want to call in and talk to us, but we just can't take any more callers. If the Manhood Academy guys call in again, we will take them, but at the end. Okay.
And as a reminder, we will be doing this again on New Year's, so if you missed the boat this time around, we'll be here.
Yeah. So if you can also call in on New Year's in a week. So there you go. Okay, I'm gonna bring on the next individual who has been waiting very patiently. Nephinor.
Hey, how you doing? How you doing,
motherfucker? How are you?
Probe, and it's all good.
Nessie.
And of course, I'm dealing with the trolls in the chat, the fail-atomy trolls. Apparently, they think that they're so important that everyone else has to hang up just for them.
What?
Yeah.
Okay, what was your question, Nephinor?
Yeah, they think they're real men and real strong. But my question is, with all of the shit we've seen with Gamergate, did you ever think that it was going to be gamers that would be the first ones to really stand up to the bigots that we've been dealing with?
No, I had no idea that it would be them, but I knew someone would. Someone would definitely stand their ground eventually. But if someone had told me it would be gamers, I'd be like, really? Them?
No, but in retrospect, when you think about it, it was actually, it makes sense, right? Because, like I said, like I told the young man at Kennesaw, nobody's going to fire you from your hobby, right? Nobody can make phone calls to your boss and have your boss say, yeah, no, you can't play video games anymore and you can't buy video games anymore. Like they have the consumer, because of the way the industry is, and because the consumers are so much bigger than the people who work in the industry, so much more populous. There's really no way to for Intel or for game producers to ignore their consumer base and punish their consumer base without also punishing themselves, right? Like, Intel knows who butters their bread. Like, women don't need the latest freaking gigantic huge processor in order to play Flappy Bird on their phone, right? The people who need those processors, the people who need those super huge, expensive computer setups, the people who need, right, the super mondo excellent video cards, right, graphics cards. They are not the people who play Bejeweled, right? They're the people who play AAA games, right? And there's so much money that gets poured into development of those games. You pour millions of dollars into developing a game, and if your consumers are so pissed off at you that they don't buy it, right? They're just like, oh, I'll just go back to playing GTA 5 because, hey, it's entertaining and I really liked it the first time, so I'll play it again, right? Or I'll go back to something that I was playing 3-4 years ago, right? And I'll play through that again, right? And I'll stick it out and I'll wait for a manufacturer, for a producer to come along who's actually going to show that they respect their consumer base. So I mean, like, it really is, there are so many gamers, right? And there are so many of them that this is not their life's work. This is what they do for love, right?
And it's our money.
It's not what they do for money. They pay money to do it because they love it. And, like, don't fucking mess with that. Just don't. Yeah. And really, to be perfectly honest, I mean, I'm just going to wrap this up, but they are the perfect people to go up against social justice types because they're such a diverse group of people, and they're used to spending large amounts of time, sitting in one place and standing their ground. It's not like you're just suddenly going to get rid of them. They can grind it out. They can stay for the long haul.
Yeah.
And anywhere where the humanities have a little bit of influence is somewhere where you can twist anything from black to white. It's only once you get to the pure meritocracy of what goes on in a little box, in a little machine, that it really, that they can't screw with that system anymore. And it's going to take more than a generation for for us to realize what's happening here.
And Mike, we need to do more songs.
Yeah,
Yes,
there will
we
be
do.
more. There will need to be more songs.
I will see if I can write up some more for you, but we need to get some more songs out there.
We will. And for everyone who keeps asking when is there going to be an album, well, as soon as we got enough decent recordings done, because there's a lot of crappy recordings that people like as well, but I'm not putting crappy recordings from ages ago on the thing, so stop asking me. We're going to wait until we've got enough new, decent, recordings. Like
so you guys
recent
still,
ones.
are you still ready for Manhood Academy? Because I'm waiting for them to come into the queue, but they're not in the queue. Like
Of course not. They're just about
I said to him that the show was about helping people, and we had a lot of people in the queue, and I guess he interpreted that to mean that we wouldn't take him. Well, I thought that he would use his manly wiles to force me to actually take him, but he just bowed his head and said, okay, and shuffled off into the night. So, you know what? If he doesn't come back on, I guess that's the end of it. But if he does, we'll take you after we're done with the people who have legitimate stuff to talk about. And
Either live up to your name or don't.
We have now about 47 minutes before the hard end. In other words, Blog Talk Radio brings in the bouncers and says, "Get the fuck out." So if we can get it done within that amount of time, sure, we'll talk to you. But let's bring on the next guest. Thank you for coming on, Nathanor.
Good to talk to you all.
Yes.
Yeah, it was great to talk to you again. Merry Christmas. And I want to bring on Matthew.
Good morning and Happy Christmas.
Thank you.
Christmas.
How are you all doing?
Good.
Right, so I wanted to talk about my best friend who is going through college. I'm pursuing a computer science major. He couldn't call in tonight, so I thought I'll do it for him. And he basically wants to know how he could protect himself from any necessary female contact that could, potentially damage him or frame him. He's a little paranoid about his safety because of all those stories of, male students facing rape allegations and the sort.
Here's the thing. Here's the really horrible thing is there really is no way to protect yourself from an allegation. Like a lot of feminists say, well, just don't have sex with a woman that you don't know, and then you'll never be falsely accused. Well, yeah, unless some crazy ass fucking bitch pulls your picture and profile off of Facebook and accuses you.
Or unless she just doesn't like you. I mean, there was this one woman who alleged shit tons of men of rape because she just didn't like them that much.
Yeah.
Or something along those lines.
They're really, honestly, the only thing that I can say is just don't rape is false allegations are rare. Rape is also rare. Both of those things are rare. They don't happen to a lot of people, right? I would say that they're about, at the most, false allegations are about as common as sexual assault, in a college environment, which is going to be one in 50. Right? All of the feminists saying 1 in 5, right? The Department of Justice Bureau of Justice Statistics came out with a new study just a week or two ago, essentially saying it's really somewhere between 1 in 43 and 1 in 52 women will be sexually assaulted. And I don't think that false allegations are going to be any more common than that. It's really not something that I would walk around in terror of. Just like I wouldn't walk around in terror of rape. I wouldn't walk around being constantly fearful. I mean, if it happens, that's a really horrible thing. But you can't live your life in fear.
Obviously.
I would suggest like all of the normal things, right? Like don't have sex with someone who's been drinking. Don't hook up with anybody at a party.
Oh yeah, no worries about that. My friend's been a MGTOW for pretty much all his life, so he's safe from that.
If he's sexually active, then I wouldn't worry a whole lot. It's probably it's not a preordained thing that's going to happen to him. It's not something to jump out of the bushes at any moment. I mean, it doesn't happen to most people, right? So I would say just be the way most single women are about, the risk of rape, right? In that you always sort of are aware that it's something that could maybe happen to you at some point, but you're not going to let it completely dominate your thinking and how you behave, right? So you just
exactly
in reason and just go about your business and don't let yourself obsess about it. That's what I would do.
I agree. I just wanted to make this call because my friend was really, really worried about this sort of stuff, and again, he can't call, so I did it for him. He's probably listening to this right now. So hi, Travis. Love you, man.
Hi, Travis.
Hi, Travis.
Hey.
Oh man, he's the best. By the way, Mike, you're the greatest as well. Love your stuff, man.
No, you're the greatest.
Oh.
You'd be like, no, you.
No, you are.
You hang up. You hang up.
Yeah, thanks a lot, man. Thanks a lot for everything.
That wasn't. Oh, you know what I mean.
Thanks a lot for everything, and keep doing what you're doing. You guys are the best. And yeah, happy Christmas, happy holidays, GG.
Thank you, Matthew.
Take care.
And since I came right at the right moment, I'm going to bring on Nestor.
Hey. Hi, Merry Christmas, everyone.
Merry Christmas to you.
Merry Christmas.
I hope everyone had a good time with families and friends.
Oh, we had a great time. There were only several meltdowns over the Wii U that got bought this Christmas for my kids, so only a few bare knuckle fights between my children. So yeah, it worked out well. Nobody died.
What's your bare knuckle fight?
Yeah,
I probably sound a lot more sober than I am, if you want my story.
I was mostly alone this Christmas, and I received some boots and a cat calendar, and a purse from my aunt. Things that are way more girly than I'm used to. But I'm not going to complain.
You know what I got for Christmas?
What?
I got oven mitts and cutting boards and a Santoku knife, chopping knife.
The opposite of me.
and I got some pads to go under my dish rack, and I got and some other things that are indicative of my domestic drudgery, my life of domestic drudgery. And I really can't complain because I bought all of those things for myself and then wrapped them and put them under the tree. Oh, I also got some Swiffer microfiber sort of magnetic pads to go on my Swiffer that will pick up dust. Yeah.
Oh, these boots are name brand.
Okay, so did you bring up your point, Nestor? The prison lockdown?
Oh yeah, well, pretty much I spent Christmas by myself watching marathons on I think it's MSBN. They just show prison lockdowns, constant stories of different inmates and all that. And there was one case that really really kind of
really took my interest is that, there was one lady who she basically threw her husband off of the 25th floor. She rammed into him, and he died, and she's saying she didn't. But the thing that really stuck out was from the show was that, the court offered her 5 years if she pled guilty. And I'm thinking, wow. I mean, that I don't know of any other case where, if it was a man that, if he had intentionally killed his wife, he would get such a generous offer. So I'm just wondering, if people actually pay attention to this, am I the only one just watching this show and thinking, wow, 5 years for murder, that's crazy,
Yeah, you're not the only person realizing this stuff. After getting involved with men's rights, watching these shows where they go looking into crimes and things like that, it's a completely different experience because you almost wonder, did someone screw up? Did this person actually kill their wife or whatever? How well was this case handled? Did they handle the fiber unit properly? The DNA, was it compromised? What really happened here? And it's nerve-wracking. It's a completely different experience because before that point you're like, justice was served, or you feel that in the back of your mind. And now I find myself watching things like 2020, and they'll do a story where a woman just outright killed another woman, and you watch the other side, the people trying to get this person convicted because they know that she did it, and coming to the realization that she may not get a lot of time in jail. Justice might not be served because she's a woman.
One of the things too when you and this is something that I was aware of even before I got involved in men's rights. It's when the public is outraged is when people get wrongly convicted. The greater the outrage, the greater the risk that somebody is going to be put in jail wrongfully. And when the Innocence Project in the States, they've said that the majority of their exonerations are involving sex crimes, right? And out of the top 10 most sort of infamous exonerations in Canada, including David Milgaard and others, 8 of them, I think, had a sexual element. Stephen Truscott was 14, and he was one of the last people in Canada to be sentenced to die, to be sentenced to be hanged, right? And he was exonerated decades later. It was a rush to judgment. And the only reason why he was convicted was because he was the last person to see his classmate alive. And this is really what it is. We are so appalled and so outraged by crimes against women that sometimes we really jump the gun, and we really are willing to put anybody away. Somebody needs to pay for it, right? And if we can make somebody pay for it, then it doesn't necessarily matter if it's the right person. And I don't know if are you Canadian?
No, I actually live in Austin, Texas.
Oh yeah, no, I should have gotten that from your accent. If you actually look on YouTube for a band called Tragically Hip and a song called Wheat Kings, like wheat as in what you grow in a field. Wheat Kings. That song is about the exoneration of David Milgaard, and he was in prison for 25 years, something like that, for the rape and murder of a nursing student, I believe. And it turns out, he had nothing to do with it, and he spent all of that time rotting in prison. And it's an extremely. You look at a song like that and how they can just crystallize that emotion. But you put somebody in a cage for 25 years for something they didn't do. But no one's interested in something you didn't do is one of the lines. And
Karen, I'm going to have to interject because otherwise we won't have time for our very special guest.
What?
Yeah.
Oh no.
Uh-oh.
So let's. I gotta say good evening to Nicola. Thank you for the call. We're gonna have to move on. No, not yet. We still have a few people left. All right, I'm just looking at who's been in the queue longest. Darren, do you have something quick to say to Karen?
Yes, Karen.
Yes?
Karen, are you there?
Sorry, you're breaking up.
Okay,
Karen,
sorry,
are
Darren.
you there?
Oh. Yes, Karen is here.
Karen.
Okay.
Yes.
Are you there?
Yes.
I'm here.
How's the connection? Is it okay?
Yeah, it's okay
it's
now.
It's better now, yeah.
All right, Karen, first of all, you need to fire your screener.
That's me.
My who?
Your screener,
yeah,
she's doing a horrible job. You need to fire her.
Oh, why? She made you wait, and now you're like...
She's not getting you the calls you need. Karen, she told us to call in. Karen, she told us to call in, and then she hangs up on us. She's incompetent. Fire her.
That's not hanging up on you. I have to mute you to go to the next one.
I have to mute you to let you... We didn't even finish the conversation. Come on.
No matter how incompetent Alison might be, she is 100 times more competent than I would be at running the back room.
No, Karen, all you have to have is 3 brain cells, and you're already doing better than her. She can't even figure out how to take our call properly. She's accusing us of not calling in. We're trying to call in. We're trying to get a hold of you because we're trying to talk to you and we're trying to have a substantive conversation that you MRA cowards don't want to have.
I'm sorry, guys. I'm really sorry. We have to definitely take legitimate calls before we finish with Manhood Academy. That guy caught through my filter. Sorry. Okay.
Oh, is that Manhood Academy?
Yeah, they managed to jump the line. Okay, this is Badger.
They're really angry.
Yeah, they're very angry people. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Oh, jeez. I don't have enough booze for this.
You know what's really funny is he was like, Karen, I'm such a huge fan of you. And I'm like, this is Alison. Anyway, Badger on air. Come on.
Get hunts on Reddit all the time. So.
Hey, guys. Karen, you're the one who got me into men's rights, so I want to say thank you. Mike, you're the one who keeps me laughing and whenever I want to pull my hair out, so thank you for your videos. And to all the ladies on the line, all the honey badgers, period, you help keep me sane, so I want to say thank you before I say anything else.
Well, you are very welcome.
You're welcome.
So what I'm dealing with right now is I am a former white knight who started taking the red pill whenever it started getting a little too deep for me to realize what was going on. And now I'm separated from my wife, likely going to divorce because I finally said I have to have some form of self-respect, and minimum I need I can see my kids whenever, some equitable arrangement, because right now she's jerking them around on me, preventing my daughters from being able to come over on Christmas Eve for my family's traditions, and in making me have only the times that she needs a babysitter to be able to spend with my girls.
Oh, that's typical. That's actually really, really common. And if she could find a babysitter, she'd pay somebody to do it before she gave them to you. I think it was Karen DeCrow. She's a lawyer. She used to be the president of NOW, National Organization for Women. she was the lawyer who successfully argued a legal paternal surrender case. She actually got a man off the hook for child support because the woman intentionally went off birth control and intentionally got pregnant when he didn't want to. And the decision was overturned on appeal. But she said that there were times when she would be talking to her female clients in a divorce case, and these female clients would be complaining that they don't have child care, they don't have somebody to look after the kids while they're at work. And she says, well, have you considered asking their father? And the woman would say, well, that's exactly what he wants. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And of course I wouldn't, because that's just what he would want.
So,
right?
what's your question?
Right.
I didn't really have a question. It's one of those situations that I think is entirely too common that I thought wouldn't actually happen to me. And you know, I mean, tonight I finally got my oldest to be able to stay over at my house, so I didn't get to come on the lines until, you know, almost 11 as it was, because I had to spend what time I could with my 3-year-old. But
no, and that's the important thing too. But it's just basically it really is. There doesn't seem to be a whole lot of rational thought behind these kinds of things. It really is just fights and emotion and resentment and anger and power.
Specifically, that it's funny you should mention power. In our case, it's control, because I am not one who formulates rational arguments quickly. I grew up in a very civilized home where if you had a problem with somebody, you took them aside, you talked about it calmly, and worked it out between you. But he comes from a family when they refer to it as going the full her family's last name whenever they go and there's fists flying. And so what will happen is we'll have a disagreement, and she'll intentionally push my buttons to the point where I'm having trouble staying rational, and then she'll start complaining that I'm being mean to her, to the point where today I told her whenever we separated, I wanted a divorce, that I was not ready to discuss where her problems were because I am so conflicted. I love her so much, but it hurts so much that I can't make it make sense yet. I need time to speak to a therapist about it and come to some kind of rational understanding. And she just kept on trying to pull me into a conversation. And I finally told her, listen, I can't save you from drowning when I'm drowning myself, because that's suicide. And there's got to be some form of understanding that I have to be able to watch over myself as an adult. It's my responsibility to not make you the one who's responsible for my base life. And I need to do something to keep from putting a bullet in my head. And her response was, what about a bullet in my head? She's perfectly willing to admit that things are not equitable, but what she points out is that I am not saving her no matter how much pain I'm in. And if I was, I mean, she's not saying the words "if you were a real man," but that is the tone of what she's saying.
No, and if she had her way, you would just disappear, and she wouldn't ever have to deal with you again. And she'd never have to send the kids to you, and she'd never have to, make awkward conversation for 5 minutes when you come to pick them up, and all of those things, right? Because once there's separation, in some women's minds, their ex becomes just an inconvenience. I mean, that's really not. There's a complete abrogation of somebody as an individual, somebody as a human being, somebody as an individuated human being who exists for outside of how they affect you, right? But some women, and yes, some men are like this, right? They only look at things as how they affect me. How does this affect me, right? And you're not going to be in for a wonderful. I don't foresee an amicable resolution to this, but there is hope that there will be a resolution that everybody can find they can live with. Especially if she's allowing you to see the kids. Especially if you said your oldest was 3?
Oh, guys, I apologize. I had to pull him off because his line is, there's a lot of interference on it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but I wanted to thank him for coming on and telling his story. The reality is that what happened before that is I said to Manhood Academy they could come on at the end after everybody who's actually needs to tell their story gets to tell their story, and then we can listen to them shout at us. But they actually pretended they went under a false name and jumped the queue essentially. So I wanted to apologize for that. That got past me. It probably should have been a red flag when this guy was like, "I love your videos and Karen, you're awesome," and I'm like, "I'm not Karen." Whatever. So if we can get Badger's, I'm really sorry, Badger. Your line is just it was so bad that it was sort of degrading the entire. It was making it difficult to even hear Karen.
Yeah.
But let's move on to Joe, and then we might have a little bit of time for our very, very, very nice friends who want to talk to us last. Joe, you're on the air.
Hi.
Hi.
I just wanted to share a quick story, and I know you are pressed for time, so I'll try to make it quick. But my mom was recently taken into jail for basically drunkenly attacking a family member. And I just wanted to say, y'all usually talk about, falsified violence. And she basically attacked someone and called 911 herself and immediately began, lying to the police. And I guess I just wanted to say that it's kind of weird. You don't really think it could happen to you, but it really can, I guess.
It can. It absolutely can. And on the other hand, there may a lot of people are like, well, what's your advice to avoid it? And the only thing that I can think of is in a situation like that where there's a conflict that you record things, right?
Well, the thing is, it was completely Jekyll and Hyde within 5 minutes. It was bizarre.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it's one of those. I don't know whether there's a huge whether there's a real way to protect yourself from something like that. That really there really is only sort of a legislative and political solution, and one of the legislative solutions that can happen in cases like that is that domestic violence stop being a thing in the law, right? That it just stop being a thing. There is nothing that is covered under domestic violence that cannot be covered under normal assault laws.
Yeah.
Well, I just wanted to say real fast that she actually attacked this guy's genitals and basically tried to aggravate him into punching her. She was trying to antagonize physical violence onto her.
Wow.
Oh yeah, and then if he hit her, then anybody who said she was actually provoking him would be called a domestic violence apologist, right? And be making excuses for his aggression. And here's the really horrible thing, right? And I don't necessarily think that this is the case ever when it comes to sexual assault. Maybe there are some odd cases. I don't know. I haven't really heard of one. But when it comes to intimate partner violence, just the way it is with violence that might happen outside of a nightclub between drunk parties. That there is such a thing as asking for it. Right? There really is. There is such a thing as getting in somebody's face with the intention of making them take a swing at you. With the intention of provoking them to take a swing. Right? And, you know, like, and I probably will have another item added to the list that Rachel was reading at the start of the show, right, of really horrible things that I have said. But I'm sorry, if you can look at two guys squaring off in front of a nightclub, right, and they're both in each other's faces, and one of them is, you know, jabbing the other guy in the chest with his finger over and over and over again, right, and saying, oh, yeah, you're a big man, take a swing, come at me, brah, right? That guy's asking for it. He's literally saying, hit me, right? Like, if you can see that about that tableau, right, then, and if you know anything about how couples interact and how they can come into conflict and how high conflict couples deal with each other, right?
Right.
It is often a case that somebody is asking for something. They're asking for the other person to hit them or throw something or like show some kind of like that woman in Fatal Attraction, Glenn Close in Fatal Attraction, right? You know, she's like, go ahead and hit me, but I won't be ignored.
Whoa.
Right? I won't be ignored.
Well, I mean, the part... Oh, I'm sorry,
guys. We're getting to the end of the hour, and I do have somebody waiting in queue who wants to talk to Karen after the show, which I don't think is possible if we don't end the show with a bit of time to talk. So we need to bring on... sorry, I was about to say Failhood Academy, but Manhood Academy. We did promise.
All right.
Sorry, Joe. Do you want to stick on for this one, Joe?
No, I'm good. I just wanted to throw the story out there, and thank you for letting me air that out.
No worries.
Thank you.
And thank you for calling in. And, you know, you brought some interesting stuff to the table as well. Some interesting conversation. Do call in again in the future if and when we have another show like this. All right.
Well, thank you.
Thanks.
Okay. Yeah. All right, Manhood Academy. We're going to close out at 10 minutes too. So you got yourselves 6 minutes. Do you guys want to bring them on?
Yeah. Might as well.
Yeah, might as well. All right.
Pick up the tab.
All right. There you go. You got the mic.
What? Oh, sweet. You gave us 6 whole minutes. Amazing.
Well, why should we give you
Karen,
more?
are you there? Karen, listen.
Yes?
We obviously can't debate you cowards in 6 minutes. We're offering you a live debate challenge where we're not going to censor you like you censor us cowards and cut us off. We're not going to do that to you.
Okay. When have I ever censored you?
Karen, you've been censoring us this entire show. You haven't been reading what that incompetent screener has been typing in the chat.
No, I didn't say us.
Karen, look it. I know you're a coward. Listen, Karen, I know you're a coward. I only have 6 minutes, so I should get the floor. Listen, Karen, I know you're a coward. Why don't you bring your 2 mother hens and I'll debate all 3 of you?
Okay, if you actually, I would not.
What is it, Karen? Come on, make up your mind.
But okay, listen to me.
Why did you
accuse
let her answer?
I liberated comments.
Karen, I can only hear 1 mother hen at a time. Tell the other 2 mother hens to shut up, and I'll talk to you.
Okay, well, they're shut up. I'm talking now. My turn. Let me talk. Now, I liberated several comments of yours calling other commenters fags on my channel just today. I went in and
on your channel. What are you talking about on your channel? What do you mean on your channel?
On my YouTube channel, somebody spamming with links to your channel, calling other people faggots.
Nobody went on your channel today. Again, we can't address these things in 6 minutes.
Nobody was.
Let's have a live debate.
You
can bring all your false accusations with you, Karen. You can bring all your false accusations with you, and we'll let the public decide. You have your say. I'll have my say. You can rebut. I can rebut. There's no censorship or cowardice like you have on your program, and we can let the audience decide. How about that?
Okay.
Yeah,
first
maybe
of all,
think about it.
First of all,
think about it. Okay. The fact that you have to think about it, that you have to think about whether it's a good idea to have
all right.
debate.
Where is this music coming from?
I am man. I have 6 minutes to talk.
Oh, see, there you go.
I will spend those 6
censor
minutes
us.
telling everyone else what a fucking coward
we
they
got a
are.
censorship issue here.
Because that's what a brave man does.
There we go. That's their debate. They have some faggot come on and say a brave man. Sweet.
Okay. All right.
You got 4 minutes, dude.
Okay, Manhood Academy guy.
Karen, your
okay,
comedy,
bitches, everybody shut up.
Karen, your comedy is not working. Karen, you need to have.
Okay,
Manhood
Academy guy. What's your name?
What is your name?
Just have a debate.
What is your name?
What's your name so that she
knows
who she's debating?
Karen.
No, seriously,
Karen.
you say that Karen's a coward, that you know her name.
If I'm having a conversation
with
you or the other mother hen. Karen, I can't tell when I'm having a conversation with you or the other.
I sound like a mother hen to you, motherfucker.
What is your name? You have all of our names. What's your name? If we're cowards, how come you know our names? We don't know your name. So what is it?
One of you retards, not all 4 of you retards at the same time.
It's a simple question. What's your name?
Karen, I can only talk to one of you retards at a time.
What's your name?
Oh,
Karen. I want to talk to Karen. Put Karen on.
Yeah, I'm on here.
Karen, listen. Karen, listen.
I asked you a question.
Karen, listen. It's a simple proposal, a debate. That's it. You air your side, I air my side, and we don't censor, and we don't have this faggot yelling in the background, utter nonsense.
And you won't even tell me your first name. That's just sad.
Okay, well, that's enough for Manhood Academy. It's interesting that you're, like we were saying, what's your name? I mean, you know our names. We don't know yours. That's an interesting situation to be in and be called a coward.
It's so hard being brave, isn't it?
Yeah, it's so hard being brave without saying your name. I mean, sorry, hard being brave.
He didn't disguise his voice.
Okay, you got your 6 minutes, and that was a total waste of time. And I gotta call it out. The show is over, folks. I don't even know what to call that kind of place. It was sort of an awkward flailing place, but not really geek awkward flailing.
Yeah, that was a cacophony of bullshit.
Yeah, a cacophony of bullshit is a good way of putting it. All right.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
Yeah, Merry Christmas, everyone. And
I'd like to let you know on something, Mary.
And goodwill toward men.
Goodwill toward men. Yeah. Well, the reality is we did talk to a lot of people that sounded like they needed somebody to talk to them, so that's a positive, you know. I mean, it went into, like you said, a cacophony of bullshit at the end, but we did talk to some people who obviously very much needed to have their voices heard. So that's why we did this. And if you didn't get on this show tonight, please do try again on New Year's. We will be having the show same time, 9 p.m. Eastern to 11 p.m. Eastern. If we get a lot of callers, we'll go over again like we did tonight. And yeah, peace out. Have a great night. And
keep calm and badger on.
Keep calm and badger on.
Keep calm and badger on.